Okay, so the name of my channel, The Disgruntled HCW, just comes from how I've been feeling. Like for the last 2 to 3 years, I have just been feeling like very disgruntled with my job as a nurse. It literally has nothing to do with patients. The patients are fine. There's no issue with the patients. Most of my issue comes from the healthcare facilities that I work for. Um, in nursing, you can work for a hospital, you can work for a clinic, you can work home health. Those are the environments that we nurse out of or within. And so over the last few years, I've just noticed that like they require so much and they give you so little to work with. And so, they take away or you start out, let's say this. You start out with a large number of resources, which was what I felt like I had at the beginning of my career as a nurse. You have resources that you learn to use and you get skilled at using those resources to help take care of your patients. Well, as time goes on, through administration changes, cutbacks locally, like the resource pool gets smaller and smaller. But even in that, even in your resource pool getting small, you as a nurse, you become creative, you adapt and you make it work. The more they take away, the more creative you have to be. But then as they keep taking away, you start running out of ways to be creative to make things work. And then you start to notice that, your patients are starting to have to go without because you just don't have anything to give. You don't have anything to tweak. You don't have anything to use. Examples of that would be, which this was a long time ago. It used to be that when a patient was discharged and they didn't have transportation, we used to have these things called like travel vouchers where you could like get them a cab or whatever so that the cab could pick them up and take them home. So like that went away. Then it used to be like when I first started, if someone was inpatient in the hospital and like things weren't situated at the home, they would make concessions for the patient, like work with them, try to do whatever is necessary to help kind of buy time so that they can get their home situation situated before they go home. Now it's just like, you're not ready. You're not ready. Like they have to go. And I just, it's not, it's uncomfortable to see that because when a person is discharged and they're not really ready, they could stand to have a little bit more time, but they're not allowed to. They're going to come back. That they're going to come back. Um, and that's pretty much what healthcare is like now. It used to be that healthcare was more patient centered, and the nurses that I worked with back then were like, it's bad. But I was just coming in the nurse and I was like, I'm gonna save people. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And so now I am that nurse like years ago that's like, you come in and you have rose colored glasses and you want to do everything that you possibly can to make sure that your patients have what they need. But that if you have a resource right now, that resource most likely won't be there in the future. Um, so you literally just get burnout. And, you do deal with sick people, and sick people, they don't feel good. So they're not the nicest, but I can understand that. I think my gripe is just not having what I need to take care of them. And that's like the number of patients that we have has increased over the years. There's a shortage of nurses because we just don't want to deal with it. Like it's almost like you're in a an impossible situation, you're always trying to make the best of the situation. But the more that you try to make the best of the situation, the more resources that are taken from you. It's literally like, you have a resource and it's taken away, and then you have to sit there in real time and figure out how to maneuver without that thing that you're used to having. And here lately, it's just a matter of, okay, I don't have that. I can't pull a rabbit out of my hat. Like, I can't make things work. And that's painful to watch. That's painful to know that your patient needs a thing and they can't have it. Like, they can't get it. You know what they need, but they can't get it. And so, for the last 10 years or so, I have worked within the federal government system, and I loved working with veterans. I really did. Um, but there were so many constraints at the beginning of 2025. That was a time where, everybody was being called in to the office. And my particular position was a position out in the community where, like, I go to the patient. And I live in Georgia. And so Georgia is like rural area everywhere. Like, literally, when I would go to my patients, I could literally drive. Well, when I was going to Savannah, I would drive 2 hours to get there, 2 hours back. And I didn't really mind the driving part. The driving part was great. Just put on some music and drive. But all of my patients are rural. And so my program at first was a hybrid program where we really didn't have a place to be. We didn't really have an office. Like, we didn't have anywhere to be. So we kind of would just have to find a place. And so, like, we had a laptop and I could chart in my car. I would go see my patients and it was fine. Well, then in 2025, it kind of changed, and they were saying that, you had to drive 50. For me, it was 50 miles away, which was the nearest medical center for me. And so that was a lot. Like, I lived 50 miles away from my medical center. My vehicle that I used, thank God, I was so grateful for that. My vehicle that I used was near my home. So they were talking about us having to move our vehicles to the medical center that was 50 miles away. I already was starting out at like 7 in the morning just to go to my patients' homes because they live so far out. And I didn't have a problem with that. My car was local. So I would go get my car and just go straight out to my patient's home. Well, with the new changes that were presented in 2025, early 2025, we would have to drive 50 miles to go get our car, then go to our patients, which our patients are all over. Like, I had patients that lived in Albany, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Waycross, Georgia. I had one patient that lived in Cumming, Georgia, not Cumming. Yeah, it was Cumming, Georgia. And that's a lot to be living in central Georgia area, drive to Dublin, Georgia to go get my vehicle, and then go to north of Georgia towards Cumming to see a patient. Like, it was a lot. And then initially when we came back in, there wasn't enough space for everybody. So everybody was scrambling to be on site as we were mandated to do, but we did not have enough space. So just trying to maneuver with all of that, and still driving rural out to go see people. And then, we kept having the fork in the road emails where you have to tell what you did each day. And it was just like, it was just too much. So I ended up just resigning. Like, what was going on was taking a toll on me. But I'm a mother. I have two children that live with me, and one of my children is special needs. And so, if I'm not okay when I come home, I bring that home to them. So, I did that in January, February, March. It was very hectic, but I was on leave, medical leave. And while I was on medical leave, I felt great. I felt wonderful while I was on medical leave, and I had a freaking surgery, and I felt great. Like, but then as I got ready to get ready to go back to work, that's when like all the anxiety and restlessness and not being able to sleep like that all crept in, and I was out like 2 weeks out. And the further I got to coming, the closer I got to coming back, the worse all of that would get. And I was just like, I can't keep doing this. Um, but yeah, I will come back and let you know what happened next. Like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back.